My name is Jay. I help real estate investors just like yourself find, fund, and flip their first investment property. I've been doing this now several years, and I've done everything from low-end to high-end flips. And I'm gonna show you guys how by spending more money on missed opportunities, you actually end up making more on the back end because you would otherwise miss it being focused on saving. Let me show you what that looks like. Here's a property that I bought that is just now about 6 months old. Just coming to the completion of it, and here you could actually see what I'm doing for the front. This is a courtyard that I'm gonna be adding because this courtyard is gonna help accentuate how much more this house is gonna be worth when it's completed. Before we did this, all here was nothing but grass and a really odd fence. We took that fence down and we created this space because we wanna add the perceived value that right now it was not getting from before. So as opposed to leaving it alone and just keeping it as grass, we have now added a secondary space so when you walk into the house or before you even walk into the house, you get to experience one moment that's gonna have a tie between the outside and the inside. And something that I always argue about with a lot of my real estate investor friends, they like to just leave things as is, keep it super simple. Maybe they take the fence down and that's it. I always argue that if you were to put some time and energy into actual landscaping, what you turn the spaces into, you actually make more money. And the reason why you make more money is because you have more perceived value with the house when you do these little changes. So what we're doing here, we cleared out everything. We're installing all new pavers. Those pavers are now gonna get pea gravel installed between them. We're gonna have a nice centerpiece that's gonna be a place for your eye to land when you're on the inside. Because we have this nice large front window, we don't want people from the street looking straight into the house. So we're gonna install a wall of Calusio right here to add some privacy. But it's kind of two-sided. So not only do you get the privacy, but you now create a courtyard. That courtyard is gonna be a great space where people are gonna be able to sit, they could have a fire pit and just be able to use it, which currently you can't use it for anything. So those little changes are gonna add to the perceived value, and when someone they feel like what they're getting with the house is more than the average person, they spend more money and they make more offers. Okay, so now I'm gonna show you guys the backyard. So what we're looking at here in the backyard is specifically that. Same thing we said before, perceived value versus actual marketability. Once we get all this cleared, you can start to see it. We're putting Calusio all the way around the edge of the house, and we're added the effect of the pool finishing. Prior to this was concrete before, but the concrete was really beat up. The investor, the saver, is like, let's just paint it, call it a day. The problem with that is, again, the perceived value. By adding this concrete, we essentially extended the area in which concrete is by getting rid of all the old planters, not saving, spending. But what we're doing for the backyard is increasing its marketability, and we actually are increasing what it's gonna be worth in the end. Marketability-wise, I can argue that putting in sliding doors like this is gonna make somebody feel like they're in an oasis. What I love about this is even though I spent the money, I already know when someone sees this house, they're gonna feel it's show-stopping. They're gonna feel like this house belongs to them. I need this house. The more times you can create the feeling of somebody needing a house versus just wanting one, you get way more offers and you make way more money. My average flip, I say I make about $100,000 to $120,000 on. The average saver makes about $60,000, $70,000 on their flips. There's nothing wrong with that. You can keep things simple and do things that way. But it's kind of like the dollar pizza mindset versus the gourmet pizza mindset. You can sell a ton of dollar pizzas and make good money, or you sell less pizzas and you increase how much you're spending on them because you're adding more ingredients, you're putting better ingredients to it. Same exact thing here. I spend a lot of money on my flips, but I charge on that back end. When I charge on the back end, I make more than what you save on the front end. So right now what we're experiencing is something called a buyer's market, right? Buyers have so much choice on there because there's just an abundance of properties. Now here's another problem when it comes to saving. If you treat every property like, I'm gonna save here and save here and save here, you're gonna get buyers that walk into your house, they're gonna be like, it's nice, and they're gonna walk out the door. But if you treat it like, let me spend the money here, let me spend the money here, let me make my property so much better than everyone else, you're not even competition anymore. When you put yourself at that level, now when buyers walk into your house, now they really gotta think, do I wanna spend the money to get this that I can't get anywhere else? Where are you getting these doors? Where are you getting this pool? Where are you getting this feeling of this backyard? All the things that we're adding to it, where are you getting that? Or am I gonna go with the house that's cheaper, which again, I have nothing against it, but when it comes to having an abundance of options, because we're in a buyer's market, how many houses out there are good enough, are nice enough, or cheap enough? Plenty. There's plenty to choose from. How many of them are gourmet meals? How many of them exist? Not very many. Set yourself apart from everyone else and do the things that other people aren't so you can make money that others aren't either. So something that's really important to note here is this bathroom is the guest bathroom. This guest bathroom is shared because this is where we have our cabana, right? People come out, they're in the pool, they come inside, they could use this, shower, toilet, everything is here. The problem with how it was before is that this was once connected to the main bedroom, right? So right here, there used to be an opening for a door. And the room that was on the other side here was the main bedroom, excuse me. So when guests came in, they would use the bathroom, go back to the pool, and then that same person or persons would share that bathroom with the owners. Not a good idea. Now, again, marketability-wise, appraisal-wise, what's gonna be the difference here? It's not gonna appraise more by having them share a bathroom or not, but marketability, what your house is gonna be worth over somebody else's, making little changes. So what we did, closed off the door. We then took this bathroom, let me show you guys, added another opening over on this side and enclosed it because this is where the guest bedroom once was. So now, as opposed to having the guests share the bedroom with the owners, we changed this to the owner suite, gave them their own private bathroom that they don't have to share with anybody. And that now allows for the guests to only stay with the guests and the owners to just stay with the owners. Marketability-wise, increases. Appraisal-wise, stay the same. So what are you gonna do? Are you gonna save the money and leave things as they are? Or are you gonna spend the money because you know that when people walk in and see your space, they're gonna want this setup as opposed to the one they had before? Another thing that we did, so if you look over here, see this sliding door? What I love about it, pop this bad boy open, you're out on your back patio. What I love about this sliding door is that, well, not the price, because it was expensive, but again, marketability. What did it do for this room? This room, it was just another window just like this that was over there. Nothing wrong with it. Everything stays the same, especially from a standpoint of what the house is worth. But imagine somebody now comes into this room after all the staging is complete, and the son, the daughter, even the owners, they're like, oh my gosh, I could go out onto the pool. It makes the house much better. Now, is the cost of this what you're thinking about? Like, oh no, that's another $1,000. Don't do that. Instead, what is it gonna do for somebody when they see that they can get this and walk straight out to their backyard as opposed to keeping a window and having to walk all the way around? Another thing that we're gonna be doing as well, again, we're talking about how we're gonna be spending money to make it on the back end versus saving money right now. So if we look out here, is the backyard beautiful? It is, undeniably beautiful. But what we're also gonna do, we're gonna have a huge pergola. It's gonna start here and end about here. Now, what does that do? Again, perceived usability of the space, perceived value of the space. Add the furniture, add the plants around it, put an area rug, make the louvers on the top of it open and close. Now people see more areas of their property that they can utilize versus having a big blank area. Real estate investors, I know. You guys are looking to do real estate, but you don't have the money, you don't have the time, you don't have the resources. Trust me, I know, I've been there. I know exactly what you're going through. You're actually looking right now at a deal that I recently just finished in Boca Grove. I spent $0 from my own pocket, not a single dollar, and I was able to list this house for $3.5 million, and I'm getting to benefit on all of the upside. If you're someone that's looking to do something just like this, I want you to go to my website, jayabrams.com, and sign up for a one-on-one call with me so you guys can start putting some money in your pocket. Now, some investors will say, well, you could just get a table with an umbrella. Sure, but you add a table with an umbrella or you add something with some permanence to it. The marketability of what you get having an outdoor pergola that you can also add a kitchen at whatever point you want to is gonna do way more for your value and your perceived marketability than if you were to just leave it alone and have somebody else try to envision a blank table with an umbrella. This is another example of like a little bit of a combination between saving and spending. These are Amazon entertainment centers. They're not even bathroom vanities. But what you can do is you can go on Amazon, you can buy sinks, you can buy faucets. So I literally did just that. Drilled some holes into it. I then refinished the top of the surface so water doesn't penetrate. Then I'm gonna add in the faucets on both of them with a new mirror. You have a $1,200 vanity that only costs 500 bucks, maybe, and really just your time. So again, a little bit of a balance between what you can save and spend, but on something like this, where you can use those dollars somewhere else, but still get something beautiful, I think that's what's really important here to note, because some people are gonna question like, well, why didn't you spend the money there? Because the difference is, I didn't spend the money, but I still created something that is stunning. This is about what makes somebody feel that what you have is just as good or even better than what they could have got if you'd have bought a really expensive vanity, but it looks like shit, right? But you can make something that looks amazing at a fraction of the cost. That's a great place for you to save and still get the look and the feel of luxury. You just do it at a dime. So this is a cabinet that I found on Facebook Marketplace for $100. I mean, it wouldn't cost much at all. What I'm gonna do, because I have a bar area that I'm adding, I'm gonna take this guy, and it literally came from like another console. I just ripped off the bottom half and fit it right here, back. Then on the interior, I'm either gonna tile it or put a really beautiful, maybe like some neon lights, something to really modernize it. And then on the sides, we're gonna have wine glasses or coffee so that people can use this as a bar area that doubles, not just for wine or not just for coffee, but as like a secondary appliance space. But by adding that old cabinet, that old detail, you're now taking something that's just modern and you're adding some of the traditional to it to increase its perceived value. Because a lot of people, when they're using spaces or when they're looking at a lot of the things that look really good, it's when you can take old and new and put them together seamlessly. If you just take something that's old and you put it up here, they're just gonna be like, this shit looks old. But if you get something that's timeless, especially like mid-century pieces, stuff where craftsmanship was really a thing of that time in which they really cared about the way in which they built it. And now you use that to accentuate what you already have. Again, little ways in which you can spend more, but do way more on the back end for what somebody's gonna feel when they actually see it installed. Over on that side of the house, I didn't have any place to put another bedroom. I only had space on this side. But what I really like about this being an office is, let's say you have clients, right? So you take this, close this door, all your loud ass kids, they go away. Your clients come right in this door, they go straight into your office. Okay, you're finished, done, you point them leave, and then go back out and never go inside your house.
Like a therapist?
Exactly, like a therapist or somebody that works from home, they need the space to be able to do something. Just to reiterate is that saving money isn't always the best thing for you, and saving money sometimes actually costs you money. Because as opposed to thinking about how much you're gonna make, you're so focused on like, oh, let me be tight with what I've got. Now, there are budgetary constraints that happen to everyone. You run into a situation where like, I only have this, I can't go over that. If that's you, that's a different scenario. But there are many investors out there who have the money, but they will pull back because they would rather save it instead. I just think that thinking is very broken. So if you want to change the way you're thinking, if you guys want to spend more money so you can make more money, then this is the right video for you. And I hope you start implementing some of these ideas. Now, of course, every property is different. What you can invest in, what you can spend, what you can't spend, it's always going to be changing. But always try to think, if I were to go a little bit further, because we all have them, we know some things where we're like, man, this would be really nice, but this one's cheaper. Man, I could do this, but I could save a couple bucks. Don't let that be your thinking. Instead, start thinking about how can I put money into this so that on the back end, I recoup that and then some. And if you gain something specifically from this video, let me know down below. Where have you saved money before or thought, hey, I could spend something here and actually make some more? Share it within the community, that way we can all grow together. Now, until next time, I'll catch you guys in the next video.